Hello, this is Ghostwriter 615. I want to come to you today and talk about the manipulation of a person's mind is a horrible thing. And sometimes the truth is very hard to digest. I know a lot of people like to be entertained and like to have fun and stick their head in the sand like nothing's going on, nothing has gone on. And you can't know what's going on if you don't know what went on. In order for us to move forward, it will take a group, many groups, and a call for justice. And keeping with that, I'd like to say that there has been an ongoing effort by certain groups to suppress the teachings of African history. For instance, what's happening in Florida, Texas, Virginia is nothing more than an effort by a certain population to control historical narratives which disassociates them from their past violence, murder, and crimes against humanity. Just because you may not have experienced oppression in the same way that others have not, does not alleviate your responsibility to be part of the solution. I'm calling for action from our community, and our community is a multicultural and diverse community, which should recognize when there's been a harm done to a person or people that needs to be fixed. There's a need for justice. And I'm going to read to you something from the 1700s to show you how long this type of injustice has existed and how they went about it. Some of it I had to say that I was not going to read it because it was tough for me to read. But this is a letter, and they say that this letter could not be true. But after I read it, I want you to tell me if these things have been done and if they're true, because they ring true to the demographic that they were intended for. A man comes to Virginia from the West Indies. His name is Willie Lynch. And a lot of people may have already heard about this, but I'm going to read it again because obviously we haven't heard it enough to do something about it. Ladies and gentlemen, in my bag here, I have a foolproof method for controlling slaves. I guarantee every one of you that if installed correctly, it will control the slaves for at least 300 years. My method is simple, and members of your family and any overseer can use it. I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves, and I take these differences and make them bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. These methods have worked on my modest plantation in the West Indies and will work throughout the South. Take this simple little list of differences, think about them. On top of my list is age, but it is there only because it starts with an A. The second is color or shade. There is intelligence, size, gender, size of plantation, status on plantation, attitude of owner, whether the slaves live in the valley, on the hill, east, west, north, south, have fine hair or coarse hair, or as tall or short. Now that you have a list of differences, I shall give you an outline of action. But before that, I shall assure you that distrust is stronger than trust. and envy is stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration. The slaves, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on and will become self-refueling and self-generating for hundreds of years, maybe thousands. Don't forget, you must pit the old versus the young and the young versus the old male. You must use the dark-skinned slaves against the light-skinned slaves and the light against the dark. You must also have your white servants and overseers distrust all blacks, but it is necessary they trust and depend on us. They must love, respect, and trust only us. This right here tells me that it is not so much about color, it's about wealth and your status in the community or society. Okay? Because in this case, they're talking about slaves, servants, and overseers. And if they would ever come together to actually challenge the society that we're living in, there would be an automatic change. But as long as they can keep us fighting amongst ourselves and between others, then they have nothing to worry about. Gentlemen, these kits are your control. Use them. Have your wives and children use them. Never miss an opportunity. My plan is guaranteed. And the good thing about this plan, that if used intently for 1 year, the slaves themselves will remain perpetually distrustful. It is difficult sometimes to admit you've been manipulated and played. And once you do realize this, then it is your responsibility to free yourself. But you cannot free yourself until you realize that the information that you are being fed comes right out of this book. And it's been going on for quite some time. And I think we all know that it should have been stopped. But it's going to take a village, communities to do that. I read this because I wanted you to understand that I take no pleasure in reading things like this, but some things are necessary. We're so busy having fun that we don't do what's necessary for our communities. I've also talked about Social Security, and I'm going to tell you something. While our congressmen and representatives are making $174,000 a year with allowances coming out of their terms, millionaires and everything, they're talking about cutting off Social Security. And they didn't say just for black people. They meant for everyone. They took $1.7 trillion out of Social Security. And now they say that it's going to run out. They had no business taking it, but they didn't need our authority. But we have not been involved in politics the way we should. We think that voting is the only thing that we should do. No, they're supposed to be serving us. I hope that you have gained some inkling of what I'm trying to get across to you. And I look forward to seeing you soon. This is Ghost Rider 615. Once you gain control of your mind, there's nothing you can do. What and who do you see when you look in the mirror? I can tell you right now, we all are creators, but we don't know that, and we certainly don't act like it. Thank you.